5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm Zyori, going to be solo casting for game number 1 here at Starladder Season 8. We've got a draft underway. We've got Team Empire facing off against Flipside Tactics. Let's get right into it. Alright, so here we are, guys. Game number 1. I think we have 5 matches coming up today. Only going to be solo casting for the first match. We kind of got this production put together at the last moment. Only been awake for about 30 minutes, so bear with the sleepiness, the bassy tone of the voice. It will improve over time here, folks. Oh man, we had a fun weekend, a long weekend at MLG Columbus. Hopefully most of you out there joined us on the stream. If you weren't at the event, we saw a ton of awesome matches in here. We've got a lot of great matches coming up on Starladder. Let's take a look at the draft, though. Team Empire going to start us off with a ban on Elder Titan and the Outworld Devourer. Flipside going to go ahead and ban out the Lich as well as the Clockwork with their first 2 bans. First pick, Venomancer, and that's going to be a Timbersaw Crystal Maiden. First pick for Flipside Tactics. Now, the Outworld Devourer is an interesting hero right now. He sort of fell off a little bit following 6.79. MLG, he was almost the breakout hero. We saw him oh so much and really to great success. He's one of those heroes that slightly nerfed in 6.79, and I think some of these teams may have overreacted to those nerfs a little bit, perhaps. Of course, can't use those Tranquil Boots the way you used to be able to and proc some of that mana regen, but still an unbelievably powerful hero. Not surprised to see him ban out whatsoever. Venomancer, another one of these heroes. Now that those pesky little plague wards carry that poison sting, oh man, are they dirty, folks. Venomancer is one of the most powerful supports right now. Not surprised to see him first pick. I'm pretty sure at MLG Columbus he was both Venomancer and Clockwork were picked or banned in nearly every match. I can't remember a single game when they weren't picked or banned, and usually in that first pick, first ban slot. So all this looking pretty standard here. Timbersaw Crystal Maiden, we've seen plenty of Timbersaw play as well. He works great in that offlane, and Crystal Maiden, another one of those breakout supports. So much aggression that she can put out and a lot of utility, of course, with that arcane aura as well. As I mentioned, Lifestealer, that second pick for Team Empire, the carry of the patch. He really is unmatched right now. One of the great things about Lifestealer, of course, he's got that mid-game potential, and he can also play that late-game hard carry. He comes online much more quickly than some of those traditional Battle Fury heroes, the Anti-Mage, the PL, if you will. Not that he's necessarily a Battle Fury hero, but they take much longer to get online than that Lifestealer. You don't have to go Midas first. You can grab that armlet early on, and oh boy, does it get nasty nice and early. Weaver going to be the third pick here, or pardon me, third ban for Team Empire. Bounty Hunter going to be that third ban coming out from Flipside. That's going to be a Bane fourth ban from Team Empire. Can't say I'm too surprised to see that here. Of course, one of the great potential counters to that Lifestealer, the Enfeeble mixed with the Bane ultimate as well. Very, very potent against Lifestealer. A lot of that going through rage, so not surprised to see that banned out whatsoever. We'll see what Flipside want to take out of the pool here as well. Right now, Team Empire really haven't revealed too much of their draft. Both Veno and Lifestealer are very highly sought after heroes, and they really don't need any introduction at least, an addendum to what we've already said. So Team Empire going pretty standard here. I'm going to be curious to see where Flipside want to put that Timbersaw, because he's one of those versatile heroes that can do great in the offlane. He can also do great in the mid lane as well. So there's a lot of variety there. Flipside have really revealed little of their draft. We'll see what they want to ban out with this here. That's going to be the Storm Spirit. Okay, interesting. So I don't know. I don't know what they want to do with that Timbersaw. So this Flipside team, I'm looking at the names here. I don't recognize most of these names. I recognize Bulk, and that's about it. In all honesty, the F3RU, Team Empire, Resolution, Mag, Always Want to Fly, Van Score, and Silent. What a roster! What a roster indeed. Hopefully they do well. Very excited indeed. Like I mentioned, folks, only solo casting for the first match. You have to bear with it for one game. Hippie going to be joining me for the subsequent matches today. And after this, we are going to have Aspera versus OSG, then Poseidon versus Power Rangers, OSG versus 4FC. Then we're going to wrap up the cast today with Flipside versus Poseidon. Okay, sorry. Checking my Skype. LD giving me production tips here. I've already been screwing stuff up. So no worries. Like I said, guys, got this production put together in about the 20 minutes right before we went live. So I think I have everything settled down. But if there's any issues, I have chat open, sort of. Of course, there is a delay on the stream as we are in the broadcaster slot. And remember, folks, you can check out the in-game broadcaster slots. We are set up there if you do have a Starladder ticket. If there's audio imbalance, just let me know, and I'll try and tend to it, as I mentioned. Coming in fresh here from MLG Columbus. So finally, we do have our third picks on the board here. Flipside going to go ahead and grab the Naga Siren to go with their Crystal Maiden and Timbersaw. Again, a very well-rounded draft. Still haven't revealed too much of their hand. That Naga Siren has been a little bit of a less popular pick. She works very well against the Lifestealer. Of course, the minus armor from Riptide always helps to pick on those melee heroes, but also the Ensnare. It's physical. That means it goes through rage, folks. So that is a bit of crowd control that you can put out onto that Lifestealer despite his pesky BKB-like ability. Visage now going to be that third pick for Team Empire, another hero that really needs no introduction. Almost surprised to see him make it this far without a ban or a pick. Visage, just one of those unbelievably powerful supports. He's the jack of all trades. He's got damage output, he's got early aggression, he's got survivability, he's got those mobile wards, aka familiars, of course the crowd control that the familiars can put out. Another hero that just so powerful. Razor now going to be that fourth pick for Flipside. Again, very obvious that Flipside want to try and deal with this Lifestealer. Razor, just like Bane, works so well to deal with him. That static link, draining all that damage. And Razor's pretty speedy. He's a speedy guy, and against a Lifestealer, against an Ursa, anyone like that wants to be up in your face, any speedy type hero that you can use to try and kite him around a bit is going to work very well. So Lifestealer, one of those heroes that, of course, with the Infest ability, pairs so nicely with any kind of big mobile hero. We love to see that Lifestealer Furion. We've seen Lifestealer Spirit Breaker, not recently, but of course some while ago. And Lifestealer Puck works so well. Puck can initiate very nicely with the Illusory Orb. Of course, once Puck grabs that blink, usually that first big core item following the bottle and boots, makes for some pretty easy initiation and a lot of burst damage that Puck can put out with that Waning Rift, the Dream Coil, the Infest damage, and then Lifestealer going at you. It's dirty. It gets dirty quick, so not surprised to see that Puck pick. Final band's going to be coming out here. Lone Druid going to be the fifth band for Flipside Tactics, and TA going to be that fifth band for Team Empire. And I can't say I'm surprised to see the TA band work so well against Puck. TA kind of considered the hard counter against Puck, if you will, and in a sort of a Ceteris Paribum kind of a situation, all things equal, TA usually does pretty damn well against Puck in that early laning phase. But you know, TA does have her own problems. So Team Empire revealing perhaps a bit more of their hand with that Puck pick as their fourth. Let's see, what are they going to need with that final pick? And they need some sort of an offlaner. Of course, Clockwork has been burned out. There's always the option for the Darkseer. He has been very unpopular post 6.79 for an array of reasons. The minor nerf, the changes to the jungle, and the changes to the offlane, sort of that trifecta slap in the face to poor little Ishkoffel. But still an option, does pair nicely with the Puck. Of course, Vacuum works nicely in conjunction with that Dream Coil. Though, I don't know that this would be a great Darkseer game. We'll see. To each his own here. Of course, Team Empire, though, going to have the luxury of the fifth pick. Flipside now going to or the 10th pick, pardon me. They will have the last fifth pick. Flipside here going to break into their last bit of reserve time. Only 20 seconds remaining. We'll see what they want to grab. Ooh, it's going to be a Shadow Fiends. That's going to be a Shadow Fiend Puck solo mid matchup, which should be quite tittillating. It's always an interesting matchup, and it's one where I think Shadow Fiend will start to overtake the Puck. It's in the beginning, Puck has that little bit of advantage before Shadow Fiend grabs those initial last hits to rack up those souls. But once Shadow Fiend gets a little bit of momentum going, Puck will definitely be struggling in that lane. One of the big differences, though, Shadow Fiend much more susceptible to those early game ganks. It's just going to take a rotation from that Veno, Visage, or maybe both, and Shadow Fiend going to find himself hard-pressed to survive against all the damage that those three heroes, of course, including the Puck, can put out. So I think if Team Empire put a little bit of pressure on that Shadow Fiend early on, maybe get a nice early kill before that level 6 mark, Puck going to have a really nice time in that mid lane. So that will indeed be an off-lane Timbersaw, at least we can assume, and obviously a tri-lane Naga Crystal Maiden tri-lane. That would be my best guess here. So kind of a one-position Razor is a little bit interesting. We don't see that all too often. Generally, we see that sort of solo mid-Razor more often than not, try and counter that OD or try and counter someone else. But position 1 Razor can be pretty solid. Of course, he has plenty of carry potential, though he is often picked for reasons aside from that. There are definitely other heroes that fit that role much better if you want to play that kind of hard carry game. I think with this roster, Flipside going to want to try to find that mid-game timing. They're definitely going to get overtaken by the carry power of that Lifestealer, at least in my humble opinion. And we'll see what Team Empire want to grab with their last pick. I'm trying to think what would be a good option here. I still don't think Darkseer is going to be their golden ticket, though he is the one coming to mind. Clockwork would work so well for them right here. I mean, they do have plenty of initiation power with that Puck, but you can't go wrong with the Clockwork in this patch. Elder Titan also would have been a good option, but alas, he was first banned by Team Empire here. 30 seconds of bonus time remaining for Team Empire, and well, we'll see what they're going to want to grab. They're going to have to get executive pretty quickly here. Windrunner could be an option as well. We saw a lot of Windrunner play at MLG, and no, it's going to be the Furion. And how did I forget about the Furion? It seems like I just assumed he was banned out perhaps, but he is going to be the final pick. Going to work so nicely with this roster. That's going to give them a nice little bit of carry potential here as well. We've seen Furion in many an instance get very, very dirty. The Desolator, the Daedalus, all sorts of nasty stuff that can come his way. And I like that they're going to have that ability to split push a little bit. Looking at the flip side lineup here, they do have an okay lineup for that anti-push. Of course, Naga works very well with the Riptide as well as the Song of the Siren to turtle up. And, you know, between Timbersaw and Shadow Fiend as well as Razor, that's plenty of creep clearing. They can definitely stop pushing power, but that split push may be a little bit more difficult for him to grab, for him to work out here. So I think Empire, well, a nice choice with that final pick. They're just going to give them Lifestealer, Venno, Visage, Nature's Prophet, and Puck. So unfortunately, we are going to move straight into a pause here, and I don't know what they're saying. I don't speak, presumably Russian, not sure what language that is. So we are off to a slow start here. Hopefully this first game gets underway. Again, just to reiterate, guys, only solo casting for the first game. My co-caster from Dota Radio, maybe a couple of you out there have heard of it, Hippie, going to be joining us, or joining myself, hopefully for Game 2. Unfortunately, on the short notice, he did have a meeting with a client this morning, but he's hoping to be back for Game 2, and should be here for the rest of the cast. It's an honor to be here on Beyond the Summit, but I am Zyori. My Twitter is @ZyoriTV. Hopefully you've heard of me. I was on the analysis couch at MLG Columbus. It was an absolute blast. Here, while we're paused, we'll switch over to the camera. I want to show off my new Twitch TV shirt. Look at that. Did anyone else order a Twitch TV shirt? Because I did. It arrived, I don't know, sometime when I was at MLG, so I was pumped up to use it today. The cute little studio back here. I'm pumped to be covering Starladder. We were sort of tentatively planning on covering Starladder Season 8, as we did do Season 7 coverage on Dota Radio. So, you know, LD shot me a message, hey, you want to cover Starladder on BTS today? And I said, I would be honored, LD. It would be my privilege. So excited to be here, folks. Hopefully you're enjoying the cast so far. And hopefully this pause is not too long here. Looks like someone DC'd, I think that is, who's Antenna? Is that Antenna? Is that the Spanish broadcaster, I want to say? Yeah? Something like that. Something close. So it looks like we may be back underway. My only complaint so far today is I didn't get a chance to eat breakfast. So hopefully I can find a moment or two to snack down some carbs in between games so I don't keel over before we get to game number 5. But alas, it looks like we are going to resume here. And maybe not. Sorry, folks. I got you excited and let you down. I do have to say, though, speaking of Starladder, whew, Velat is a beast. He is the definition of a badass in every take of the definition. I mean, he was solo casting the entire event at MLG Columbus, and I don't know how he did it. That was so many games. He was still going strong in the finals. Just an absolute beast. He probably needs a few days to recover. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and turn down my in-game sounds a little bit. I have this sneaky suspicion here that my sounds are going to be a little bit loud. So I don't know. To each his own. I like the sounds a little more quiet. I know some people like them a little bit louder. Hopefully my camera work isn't too bad. I haven't casted in a couple of weeks here, guys, so I'm going to get back into it. But alas, we are ready to get game number 1 underway here. Flipside RU versus Team Empire. Let's go ahead and introduce our rosters here. Team Empire are going to be on our dire side. Up in the top lane, they are going to have a tri-lane. That's going to be Silent, playing on your farming Lifestealer. Van Score going to be supporting on the scary Venomancer with that new model. Look how scary he is. Oh, man. Always Want to Fly going to be supporting on that Visage in the top lane as well. In the mid, no doubt, going to be Resolution playing on the Puck. And in that off lane, it's going to be Mag on the Nature's Prophet. On the Radiant side, we're going to have Flipside RU in the bottom lane. Going to have Aloha Dance playing on the Timbersaw. In the mid lane, that's going to be Heart playing on the Shadow Fiend, and that means we are going to have a tri-lane up in the top. And Light going to be on that position 1 Razor. He's going to be supported by Book on the Crystal Maiden. And of course, last but not least, we're going to have the Naga Siren played by Wicked Sick right here. So it's going to be a try-on-try up in the top lane here. Flipside going to go long lane, tri-lane. And we'll see how this works out. They have a pretty aggressive tri-lane here. The Crystal Maiden and Naga, two very aggressive supports. Both of them scale very interestingly. At level 2, they have an absurd amount of damage output. Riptide starts at a high amount of damage relative to most other level 1s, but scales at a much slower rate. Same with Crystal Maiden. At level 2, these guys can be pretty damn dirty with the amount of burst they can put out. Razor as well. He's going to go Static Link level 1, probably going to put a few points in that plasma field for a bit of additional damage. Now, we have to remember that Empire, there are no slouches in this tri-lane. Both Venomancer and Visage, very, very powerful supports, not only in their damage output, but also their survivability. Venomancer going to have that ability to keep them slow, going to make it a little bit easier for that Lifestealer to move around, to engage, or either run. Visage going to have a slow as well, so I think it's going to be a little bit difficult for Flipside to secure kills. They're going to be able to put a lot of pressure on this Lifestealer, maybe zone him out of the lane a little bit, but I don't think they're going to be very successful in securing a lot of early kills. They may be able to grab 1 or 2, but it's going to be a little bit difficult. That Venomancer, don't forget, folks, that Poison Sting, it is dirty. Dirty, dirty, dirty. Gonna move into another pause here, unfortunately. Trying to get going. Oh, man. Alright, so we're going to resume once again here. So, let's talk about this mid lane up here. Heart versus the Resolution on Puck, and as I mentioned in the picking phase, Puck should have a little bit of an early advantage as we see 3-1 already, and the Shadow Fiend only 1-0. Not too surprised. Shadow Fiend always struggling a little bit till he gets that Necromastery, those bit of Necromastery souls up, and his life will get a lot easier after that. And again, as I mentioned, one of the differences in those lanes, Puck a lot less susceptible to ganks. He's got the phase shift to try and mitigate some damage, and the Illusory Orb as an escape mechanism. And you know, Shadow Fiend just doesn't have that same luxury. And with these supports, I mean, Venomancer is kind of a Shadow Fiend's worst enemy almost. Maybe not worst enemy, that might be an exaggeration, bit of hyperbole there, but still very, very scary. The slow that comes out from the Venomous Gale as well as the Poison Sting makes it almost impossible for Shadow Fiend to get away. If he's just a little bit too far forward, really not much that he can do about it. And we see Puck still off to a good start here, 7-2 versus the 4-1 Shadow Fiend. Trying to keep my eyes peeled on this top tri-lane here. I think this may be where some of the action is, but we see Shadow Fiend already taking a little bit of aggression here. He does have that early Wraith Band healing solve, but then he was pulled a couple of tangos here. Puck starting with that pretty standard opener there, the Null Talisman, and the pooled regeneration as well. Let's take a look at the off lane here. Mag going to be on the Furion and a Hollow Dance. Oh god, another disconnect here. Going to be on the Timbersaw. Let's take a look at the last hits. Timbersaw 10-1 against the 5-1 Nature's Prophet. Timbersaw has a slight edge early on here. He did go 2 points in reactive armor, no points in Timber Chain, and this is one of few matchups where you can really get away with that. I usually say Timbersaw level 3, love to see the 1-1-1 opener, and we've seen many an instance where Timbersaws go that slightly more greedy build, points in Whirling Death for that bit of extra burst damage, and some Timbersaws like to wait for that Timber Chain, and it can be a little bit of a double-edged sword because, yeah, you get that a bit of additional laning presence with reactive armor and the extra damage from Whirling Death, but you need that mobility. That's one of the things about Timbersaw that makes him such a scary force, is that 4-second cooldown Timber Chain. Definitely not a 1-point wonder, but that first point, so valuable. Against a Furion, though, really not too concerned. He doesn't really have too much to be worried about, so like I was saying, one of the situations where you can actually get away with it here. Nature's Prophet in the offlane, he just wants that experience, wants any additional farm he can grab, and of course going to be playing a little bit of Rat Dota probably as this game continues, pressuring some of those off lanes as the fights ensue. I love that Furion last pick, absolutely love it. So man, a lot of pauses in this game, folks. Ruining my momentum. Seriously, the pauses are rough. They're a little bit difficult again. I see more people joining us here as the viewer count continues to hop up. Thank you for joining us here for Starladder Season 8 coverage. We've got 5 great matches coming up today. I'm Zaiori, solo casting for game number 1. Going to be joined by my I guess you could say, my most common co-caster on the Dota Radio channel, Hippie, going to be joining me hopefully for game 2 and the subsequent matches after that. Again, rocking the Twitch TV shirt. Big shout out to Twitch. I don't know why there. I guess we're on the Twitch TV platform. It's hard. Platforms are a big topic of discussion. That's something else. But all right, we are going to resume here, guys. Just trying to keep things fresh, rotating around. All right, back into the game. Whew. All right. So, where were we? 2 minutes in, still no kills on the board, but Wicked Sick already going to engage on the Lifestealer. Going to throw his combo, the Ensnare and the Riptide to follow up. No follow-up damage going to come, so Silent just going to take a little bit of harassment and head back to the lane here. Looks like Empire may start to get a little bit aggressive here. We see Vanscore and Always Want to Fly coming around the backside, and we're going to move into another pause. Bum, bum, ba, bum, bum, bum. There are some serious connection issues happening here. Some serious connection issues. Oh man, a reboot internet. I think I can decipher that one. Oh man. How unfortunate. I wasn't prepared with a lot of fill here, guys. This is that time where you really want that that partner, that dual caster, so you can bounce stuff off them, theory craft a little bit better. Get tired of talking to yourself in these pauses. I see people asking again. I am Zyori, that is my name. The Dota Radio guy. You know, it was interesting introducing myself at MLG. A lot of people, you know, had already heard of who I was. They've seen Dota Radio, and the folks that were like, oh, no, I don't recognize you. I don't know. And I said, have you heard of Dota Radio? And they're like, oh, yeah, I see that on Reddit like every day. I'm like, yeah, I'm the Dota Radio guy. And their face just changes. Oh, you're that guy. Oh, awesome. I haven't gotten a chance to watch it, but Dota Radio sounds really cool. And it's like, yes, I appreciate it. No worries. No worries. I see why, you know, folks like the casters that they like beyond the summit, doing a lot of great work. It was really cool to meet the BTS guys as well. That was really my first time meeting them. Certainly in person. I talked to Gods a little bit. I've talked to him online, but my first time meeting Merlini, LD, and Luminous, and I have to say, one of the friendliest groups of guys I've ever met in esports. You know, you go to an event like that, and you sort of expect people to treat you nice. You sort of expect that level of professionalism, like, oh, hey, Zyori, nice to meet you. I didn't expect them to treat me like we were already friends, so it was really a great event. Again, if you didn't catch MLG Columbus, I don't know what rock you were hiding under, but it was a fabulous event. It went really well. The BTS guys, they're machines, man. A lot of matches that needed to be covered. Had a lot of fun on the analysis couch as well. Really just a smooth event in general. Excited to see what MLG is going to do for the North American scene coming up here, especially in the next season. $250,000 going to be on the line in the 2014 circuit coming up. So still fresh in my mind. Like I said, last night was the first night of real sleep I got in the last 5 days. So I feel like a human again. That's one of the great things about these events. They're action-packed, they're high adrenaline, they're fun, but whew, takes it out of you, man. And then the traveling on both ends. No good, no good. So we are stuck in a pause, like I said, just trying to switch it up a little bit, guys. I'm going to show you guys my my pretty face here. What are you going to do, right? We do have delay on the stream, but like I said, if there are any issues, I do have chat open, trying to get a handle on the flame, see what's going on. McLovin with Rastas. I get that a lot. McLovin, Skrillex, and oh, who's the other one that people tell me? It's Shia LaBeouf. I don't know about that one. I don't know if I contend. I remember watching Even Stevens on the Disney Channel as a little sprout. I don't know if it's a compliment or an insult. Yeah, Transformers was an okay movie, I suppose. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Still Razor disconnected here, so a slow game getting... We're only at the 2-minute mark, and this match has already been going on for half an hour, so hopefully we get rolling here. We've got a lot of matches coming up today, so it may end up being a longer day of casting than we were ready for. So, all right, we are going to have a reconnected Razor. Hopefully that means we're going to resume here reasonably quickly. I apologize for the keyboard sounds. Just needed to send a little update there. Dota Radio. Oh! Okay, so we are going to resume and get back into it. And that aggression is going to come out. Whoa, the Gale going to connect with the Crystal Maiden. Crystal Maiden going to be in big trouble as this fight resumes. But uh-oh, it might actually be Venom that gets turned around on. Nope, Crystal Maiden is going to be the first to fall, but they are going to get a counter kill. Support for support here in the top lane. First Blood is going to go the way of Empire, though. Always want to fly on the Visage. Actually going to be able to grab that bit of bonus gold. So Empire going to get the slightly better of that exchange, but still, well, going to be 1-to-1. So resuming that pause, action coming straight away. I want to check these other lanes, make sure nothing crazy is happening here. We see Shadow Fiend finally picking up a little bit of momentum. Now he is 12-6 against the 8-4 Punk. So as we talked about, once he gets those first couple of last hits, it becomes so much easier for him to start to control this lane. Nice phase shift there coming out from Resolution. But now that Shadow Raze is level 2, this Puck going to start taking a lot of damage. Another nice phase shift to mitigate that bit of incoming damage. But Resolution really starting to struggle. Does now have a bottle in tow, as does the Shadow Fiend. So this lane going to be much more aggressive. We'll have to keep tabs on it before kills come out. Now, one thing we need to remember, once Puck grabs level 6, that's where the tides start to turn yet again. And we've seen many an instance where Puck grabs that Dream Coil right away and can set up a kill when the opponent Shadow Fiend is not quite ready for it. So we'll see. And again, I'm hoping this Venomancer or the Visage will roam towards the mid and try and assist this Puck. If you can shut down that Shadow Fiend, that momentum before level 6, really makes it more difficult for him into that mid game. If you leave him unchecked, he can carry that momentum. And in that sort of late early game, early early mid-game. Wow, can he be powerful. But we're going to see these tri-lanes get a bit more aggressive here once again. Razor now going to be able to grab his phase boot, so he's got that bit of early speed. But here it is, Nagasaur going to get engaged on. The slows come out from the Veno and the Visage. That's going to be an easy kill. Visage going to be able to grab that last hit. Mag going to port up on the Furion. A nice Sprout going to block out the Razor. He is going to be able to use the Static Link to mitigate the damage coming from the Nature's Prophet, but not going to stop the damage coming from the rest of the team as we see Silent come in to grab a couple of last hits. Pardon me, a couple of right clicks there onto the Razor. Empire going to come out way ahead in that exchange. Visage off to one hell of a start here, 3-0-0. So that flying nether drake bird, I don't know, what is Visage? I don't know, an undead bird. Off to a great start. 3-0-0 as I mentioned. Visage, one of the most powerful supports right now. He does have a smoke in the inventory. Him and Venomancer are going to meet up in the jungle here, and it looks like they may rotate to that mid lane to finally put some pressure on the Shadow Fiend. They're going to station on the high ground. Not going to use that smoke quite yet, but very well may choose to do it. Let's take a look at the net worth chart here, and we see Timbersaw actually doing quite well down here in the bottom lane, farming like mad. We did see Mag leave that bottom lane, not lose, pardon me. It's been a pretty even lane. He left the bottom lane here, and that did open up a bit of a window of opportunity for that Timbersaw to pick up some free farm, so he is doing quite well in the net worth chart, as is Shadow Fiend. So although Empire are getting the better of that top tri-lane, they are not getting the better of the farm across the map at the moment. Shadow Fiend really starting to pick up some momentum here, now pulling ahead of that puck by just about 800 gold or so, but here it is. We see that smoke. They're going to come around the side here. They need to wait for this opportunity. I don't know if they want to dive the tower quite this aggressively. We did miss a kill in the top lane as we watched the mid. Vanscore going to fall to the Shadow Fiend, but alas, Shadow Fiend does fall, so not going to be that easy kill they were looking for. It is going to be a 1-for-1. Like I said, they could have waited for that Shadow Fiend to poke up a little bit instead. Diving that tower, maybe a bit too hasty from Empire. Still a worthy exchange, I think, shutting down some of that momentum. In the top lane, did we see the Lifestealer fall? I believe, yes, indeed. Lifestealer got taken out, and Razor was able to grab that kill. Again, we did miss it. Only so much we can do with one cameraman, but that is a nice little pick-me-up there for Flipsid3. Razor's farm starting to look a bit better here. Let's take a glance at the net worth chart once again. All three lanes now starting to go the way of Flipsid3 in terms of net worth. The big difference, though, Empire's support's looking much, much better. The gold graph already up to a nice 1,500 advantage for Flipside. Experience graph really not too significant at this particular juncture. I'm going to take a gander down here at the bottom lane. Nature's Prophet now level 6, so of course does have that Wrath of Nature, just going to be able to port out. Of course, no stun on that Timbersaw. Nothing he can do about it except watch Furion head back to safe territory. But this Timbersaw, he's really off to a great start. He's got those Arcane Boots already. Probably going to be going for that fast Bloodstone, that pretty classic Timbersaw build we've all come to love and enjoy because it's just so powerful. The earlier you can get it, the more effective you can be. That is one great judge of a Timbersaw. And that's something that Empire are going to have to deal with. We've seen Timbersaw be that kind of snowball hero. Once he gets some of the momentum, he can really get out of control very, very quickly. So right now, leaving him unchecked, he's picking up a lot of momentum, and he's definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with. Hopefully they can pick up a kill or two on him before he grabs that Bloodstone. If they leave him totally unchecked before that Bloodstone comes out, yeah, it's going to be, well, going to be a sticky situation, I think, to say the least. So let's take a look at Shadow Fiend here. What's he working on? He's got the Boots of Speed as well as the Belt of Strength. No doubt going to be working on those treads nice and early here. He's still doing just fine in that mid lane. Puck nipping at his heels, trailing by only about 600 on the net worth chart, so nothing too crazy there. Very back and forth lane. If only Empire could have picked up that kill without sacrificing their Venomancer, that would have made things much easier for him. But some nice Shadow Raises came out from Heart, and alas, the Venomancer could not survive. The Lifestealer here, Silent actually doing pretty well. I thought this Razor was starting to overtake the lane a little bit, but Silent able to find a good bit of farm. He does have his phase boots now, as well as his magic stick, and oh gosh, I did miss this kill. Pardon me, folks. We are going to see a double kill come out for Shadow Fiend. Did miss the kill on Puck as Naga rotated mid. That was totally my bad. Nature's Prophet pouring in for some support, and now Shadow Fiend going to be able to grab a double kill. That's exactly what you don't want to happen. I've been talking about shutting down that Shadow Fiend, getting an early kill or two to stop that momentum. Feeding him kills is the complete inverse of that, and now they're going to have a farm Shadow Fiend to deal with. He's now leading the way on the net worth chart, and I don't know what happened to Empire here. At the first glance, it seemed like they were really doing well. They got a couple of kills on that top tri-lane, but now they're starting to crumble a little bit, and yeah, you just can't feed those kills into the Shadow Fiend. It seems that they have the right idea in mind of trying to pick up those kills, pressuring him, but they've just been too aggressive. That fight started right in front of this tier 1 tower, and you just can't dive a tower against Shadow Fiend this early on. Once he gets those points in Shadow Rays, he can put out so much burst damage, especially if that tower is getting some some auto attacks onto you. It's really scary. That Shadow Fiend can just be such a damage output. So Puck now level 8 against the level 10 Shadow Fiend. This is that point where Resolution just going to get zoned out. He cannot go toe-to-toe with this Shadow Fiend. He can hold the lane when Shadow Fiend leaves it to farm the jungle and rotate about, but still, in a 1v1 scenario, Puck is going to be struggling so much. In the top lane here, we're going to see the Lifestealer maybe in a bit of a sticky situation. Razor going to be able to get a nice static link off, but no follow-up damage going to come. Of course, Rage not canceling that static link, but will allow him to survive. Razor only level 5 here, just about to be level 6, going to have that healing solve on, so he's going to continue that laning presence. The supports here from Empire forced to rotate, and that's making the life of Silent that much more difficult, but here it is. They're going to engage on Shadow Fiend in the mid. Furion ulti going to come out. Dream Coil burn. The Venomous Gale going to come. Yeah, not much Shadow Fiend can do right there, and that's the kind of gank I'm talking about. When he's forward in the lane, come around, use those slows. Whoa, that's going to be a lot of damage coming out onto the Crystal Maiden. The Haste Rune going to be on the Puck. That will secure the kill. It's going to be a 2-for-0 exchange, and they're not done quite yet. The Nagasara now going to be in trouble. Down she goes. That's going to be a 3-for-0. Mag going to pour it in. He's level 8, and they may be able to grab themselves a tier 1 tower kill here in the mid lane. Empire picking up some much needed momentum as they do rotate those supports. Unfortunately, Silent not going to be able to get the farm he was looking for, but it's going to be well worth it. 3 kills coming out here, and alas, they are going to grab this tier 1 tower kill. Glyph is going to get used by Flipside RU, but not going to be enough. The boards as well as the creeps coming out from Furion, the little treants, the tree babies, if you will, going to be enough to secure the first tower kill of the match. That's going to be 1-0 in total tower counts. We'll see that gold graph start to look like a Beyond the Summit mountain there as it goes up, then comes back down as things start to sway more in favor of Empire, but they've still got quite the hill to climb. Just about 2,500 gold gap already. Experience graph still the way of Flipside. Let's take a look at net worth and see how things are going. Still, all 3 lanes have the leading farmers here, with that Timbersaw being awfully quiet in the bottom lane while all that was happening. That did open up an opportunity for him to push that tier 1 tower, so Empire not going to get the exchange they were looking for perhaps. They basically traded a tier 1 for tier 1 as they did open up that bottom lane for Timbersaw to continue pushing forward. And again, his farm looking damn strong, now has a point booster. Also going for the Urn of Shadows. Maybe not a necessary item pickup here as he hasn't been moving about, still has 0 charges on it, but going to give him a little bit more sustain, and still he is very, very close indeed. Well, not very close to that Bloodstone, but he's on a good path, a very fast path to grabbing that Bloodstone. We are going to see Flipside here group up about the mid lane. They've got all 5 here in the mid. Looks like they do want to grab that tier 1 tower and get a little bit of a tower advantage. While that was happening, we do see a Midas now picked up on Lifestealer. 11 minutes in, a little bit of a late Midas here following those phase boots, but I think a smart choice. Silent does need to make a bit of recovery farm. He's kind of toe-to-toe with that Razor right now, trailing by just about 100 gold or so. Now that he's going to have a little bit of breathing room in that top lane, I think that was a very warranted choice that'll help him make some recovery and try to get to the top of that net worth chart. We could see some action heat up here in the mid lane. Still all 5 of Flipside going to be in the mid. They are going to manage to take out that tier 1 tower, but Puck going to go into the Dream Coil. We're going to see Naga counter-initiate with the Song of the Siren. Jigglypuff going to be singing that Sleepy Time song, and they're going to engage. A lot of synergy there with the Timbersaws. They do set up the kill onto the Venomancer. Crystal Maiden does get taken out as the fight continues. Naga Siren going to try to port out, and oh, it is going to be enough. Nature's Prophet is going to fall to the wrath of the Shadow Fiend. Right now it is a 1-for-2 exchange. Timbersaw going to be able to timber chain out. A lot of projectiles going to follow him. Not going to be enough to secure a kill. So Flipside going to come out way ahead right there, exchanging just their Crystal Maiden for the Venomancer as well as the Nature's Prophet, and also grabbing that tier 1 tower kill. Very nicely done by Flipside. The Naga was ready and waiting, mitigating a lot of the effectiveness of that Dream Coil. Now we did see Resolution grab that Blink Dagger right before that fight, and did get to show it off a little bit, unfortunately. Well, not to the level of impact he was looking for. A little stuttery here this morning, folks. Still working out the sleepies. Was sleeping but an hour ago. We do see a Medallion of Courage out on the Visage, and actually 2 Hands of Midas here for Empire. 1 on the Lifestealer, and now 1 on the Nature's Prophet. Down in the bottom lane here, this Timbersaw maybe in a little bit of trouble. There is a Haste Rune on the Puck, but no, Resolution not going to press his luck here. Up in the top lane, though, Silent going to be the one in trouble. He does have Static Link on. He is raged, of course, doesn't cancel that Static Link. He's in the negatives here, hits for absolutely nothing. He is going to be able to run away. The follow-up's not going to be there. Shadow Fiend did port up as well, hoping to secure a kill, but alas, not going to find it. We'll see Venomancer scouting out with those wards. They now know that the Shadow Fiend is here. The jig is up, as it may be, and Empire definitely going to back up and play this a bit more passive. Flipside, though, they've hit this mid-game timing here. As I mentioned, there's going to be that bit of a carry differential between a Midas Nature's Prophet as well as a Midas Lifestealer. The carry advantage will go the way of Empire as this game continues to go on, but Flipside hitting this mid-game stride very, very well, where Shadow Fiend does have a bit of an advantage with all that burst damage he can put out. Now level 11 does have the level 2 Requiem of Souls for a bit of additional burst damage, and I like that they're hitting this timing, grouping up, and putting the pressure on while the Midases are out. One of the problems with that Hand of Midas Dota style I'm looking at chat, so I already take a breath. Okay. All right. One of the problems with going that Hand-O-Midas build, only 2 Hand-O-Midas, that's not as extreme Hand-O-Midas Dota as we've seen, especially in the finals of MLG Columbus. 7, 8 Midases out onto the field, and they're great items. They give you that momentum, but they are an economic investment. They're like a fast expand in StarCraft. If it goes unchecked, it works so well for you, but alas, it doesn't give you a whole lot. You've got this timing window here where you just don't have a lot to show for it. And we're going to see some exchanging here. Sorry, I glanced at chat, and of course I miss a kill. We're going to see Crystal Maiden exchange for the puck. Obvious who comes out ahead there. That's going to be Flipside. They'll be happy to exchange their position 5 support for the mid hero at any time. Oh, a nice deny going to come out on that tier 1 tower in the top lane. A Hollow Dance going to be in a little bit of trouble here. Always want to fly, trying to put the pressure on. He's going to be able to timber chain away. The Familiar's in hot pursuit. Not going to have the damage though. Book is back. He's going to try to make something happen. The ensnare going to come out onto the Visage, but Visage, that tanky beast indeed, going to be able to put a little bit of extra damage back out onto the Naga Siren, and no kill exchange is going to happen here. We see Silent now moving into the jungle. He does have his Drums of Endurance, so that Hand-O-Midas, well, starting to come into effect a little bit here, but it's still going to be a while before they see a big economic investment when you have all that gold in an item that gives you virtually nothing except the ability to farm a bit more effectively. That's that window of opportunity that Flipside have been starting to capitalize on a little bit here. Nature's Prophet as well, starting to feel the effects of that early Hand-O-Midas. Does now have Power Treads to go with that Ring of Basilius, as well as the Magic Stick. Other items here, what do we need to look at? Timber Saw, he's getting damn close to that Bloodstone, a very early timing as well, 15 minutes in, and, well, he's really just 1 item away now. He's got the Perseverance, the point booster, as well as the Arcane Boots, of course. Just going to need that Vitality booster coming up here, and he's going to grab himself a nice early Bloodstone, and that's going to be great news for him. Razor now going to grab the early mech, going to have an Ogre Club, probably going to be working towards a fast BKB. Razor, one of those heroes, doesn't have to worry about damage items so much as he does survivability. That static link can work out nicely for him to grab that damage that he needs. A smoke going to be used by Flipside here in the top lane. 5-man Dota underway, but Empire, they know what they want to do, and that's Roshan. A smart play here indeed. They know Flipside are going to be grouped up. They see him, well, they see one up in the top lane. The smoke gank still not revealed quite yet, but this is a great play from Empire right here. I think they'll be happy to exchange their top tier 1 tower for a free Roshan kill. Those Venom wards, as well as the Familiars, helping out for a nice, easy, early Roshan kill. Of course, that Medallion of Courage helping to take him out very quickly as well. Lifestealer going to be the one to grab the Aegis, and alas, that tier 1 tower in the top lane does go down. Total tower count now is 3-2 in favor of Flipside. They do have the last remaining tier 1 tower, and it is in the bottom lane here, though they may not have it for long. Mag on that Nature's Prophet already starting to pressure. We'll see how Empire want to react here, though. Flipside are going to pressure this top tier 2 tower, and I'm not sure that Empire want to trade a tier 1 for tier 2 right now. It looks like they are going to start to rotate towards that top lane. They will leave Mag down here in the bottom to continue pressuring this tower. Of course, Furion will be able to port up if they actually choose to engage this fight. Top tier 2 going to get down to about half health, and Flipside not going to press their luck. They're going to back up. Smart play right here, obviously. They didn't want to commit to that tier 2, just saying, hey, if you're going to let us have it, we'll take it. But if you're going to defend, we will happily back up. We're going to see the bottom lane. Shadow Fiend looking like he may want to try and defend that bottom tower. Not going to be able to make that happen, but Naga Siren going to be able to set it up with the sleep. Now, yeah, Mag going to be hard-pressed to survive that one. Not much he can do. Naga Siren ulti going to be burned for a solo kill, but still worth it, I think, and at least getting a bit of recovery. Razor going to get caught into an awkward position here. Dream Coil going to come out. Silent going to be right up in his face in the trees, and nowhere for Razor to go, so it is going to be a Nature's Prophet for Razor exchange across the map. Boot going to try to port out here. Is he going to make it? Indeed he will. A couple more auto attacks, and that would have been a different outcome there, but alas, he does port out, and we're going to see the Timber Saw port out as well as Empire. We're quickly closing on his position, so Empire really picking up some momentum here. Again, looking at this graph, looking even more, like I said, a Beyond the Summit graphics. Well, it does look like a Beyond the Summit graphic, but a Beyond the Summit set of mountains here. Gold lead now a little more negligible, only about 1,000 gold lead here for Flipside, and that experience graph starting to dip in favor of Empire. Some of that is the Hand of Midas starting to come into play. We always think of Hand of Midas as an item that gives you gold, but we can't forget that 2x or 2.5x experience for the Creeps Guild does start to add up over time, so we'll see kind of that experience edge move towards Empire. Unfortunately, going to move into another pause here, but it looks like it will be a short one as Razor has already reconnected. Let's see. While we're paused here, we can take a look at the old F5, one of my favorite graphs in the game. This gives you a good overview of the state of the game here, and Well, not too many advances. Looks like Lifestealer are going to be closer, one step closer at least, to completing that armlet, the kind of core item on the Lifestealer. And there's that Bloodstone onto the Timbersaw. He's now level 11 as well for that level 2 Chakram. 18-minute Bloodstone, also considering he got the Urn of Shadows beforehand. That's about as quick as you can hope for as a Timbersaw. You know, without the Urn, he could have gotten it a little bit more quickly there, but still a very timely Bloodstone. A great item pickup indeed. Shadow Fiend now going to have the BKB at the nice 18-minute mark. He may have had it a few minutes earlier, 17-minute mark or so. It is still on 10 charges, so he has yet to use it. But Shadow Fiend's farm, very impressive here. He does have 2.7k gold in the bank, so that is, well, quite the pretty penny here. Looking at the gold per minute chart, we see Shadow Fiend as well as Lifestealer in the top positions, as we well should right here. Again, I think Flipside need to continue to stay aggressive here. Shadow Fiend is a hard carry, but he will fall off a little bit compared to that Lifestealer. He's a much more kind of mid-game bursty oriented. If farm allows, he can play that hard carry role, but I think they need to continue putting the pressure on. They're going to hit this great timing here now that their Timbersaw as well as their Shadow Fiend are doing so well that they're going to be able to really do well in these team fights, especially if they can keep up with that counter initiation on the Naga. I mean, it is great to initiate with the Naga Siren ulti, but in that first team fight we saw in the mid lane, worked so well. Puck dropped the Dream Coil, Naga countered it with the ulti, and that set up for Flipside really to have a successful team fight and grab that tier 1 tower kill in the mid lane. Resolution, though, he's got the surprise inside. They're going to engage on the Timbersaw. He's going to be in big trouble here. The Dream Coil going to come out, but he is going to be able to commit suicide. Compliments of that newly fashioned Bloodstone, so already coming in handy right there. Still a victory for Empire, though, going to be able to force that death. And, you know, we talked about how well Lifestealer pairs with any kind of heavy mobility hero, and right there, that classic combo, the Puck Lifestealer. Well, it's scary. There's not much getting away from it. So here's an interesting item pickup here. The Nature's Prophet going to grab a Force Staff here as his first item, following that Hand of Midas, straying, I should say, from that kind of classic Furion build. We see Furion in many an occasion go for that Shadow Blade into Sheepstick, into maybe Desolator, maybe Necro Book kind of a flavor, and especially with that hard carry potential that they're going to need here. Lifestealer and Furion both going to play a pivotal role in getting that late game carry advantage. I would have thought he may go a slightly more carry style item. He is going to be in a little bit of trouble here, but will be able to pour it out. Crystal Maiden not going to be able to get there in time, and, well, not enough damage to come out to finish him off before he ports out. That Force Staff did come in handy a little bit right there, but I don't know. I worry that this, with a more support-oriented item on the Nature's Prophet, that's going to hurt a little bit of the carry potential from Empire and may give Flipside a little bit more of an edge here in that mid-game, may give their mid-game presence a bit more longevity than it truly deserves, if that makes sense to most of y'all out there. Puck also with an interesting build here. Gonna go Boots of Travel following that Blink Dagger, so of course going for heavy mobility, but not a build we see too frequently. And this is one of these situations where I'd love to have my co-caster here so I could say, hey, Merlini, what's the deal with Boots of Travel after Blink on Puck? Not one that I'm trying to think of a time that I've ever seen this build from Puck, and I don't think that I have. So I don't know. I want to say it's a bit of a gamble from Resolution. Right now, Puck very, very squishy. Of course, he does have Phase Shift to try and mitigate some of that damage, but only 800 hit points. The only bit of stats he has are from that Null Talisman, which not much. 3 strength. Whoop-de-doo. That makes me a little bit nervous for Puck. If he gets caught, this is going to be a little bit rough, but it looks like Empire just want to use Puck as that initiation tool, that additional bit of movement speed, going to make it a little bit easier for him, and of course, you know, going to give Puck that bit of mobility, maybe a little bit of Rat Dota going to be coming out from Empire. Puck paired with the Nature's Prophet. Boots of Travel on the Puck. I don't know. They can push those lanes pretty damn fast. We see Puck up in the top here. Does have the surprise inside as it may be. Looking for an opportunity. Going to blink forward. Trying to catch this Razor. I'm not sure that he's going to find him, though. I don't know how aggressive they want to get right here. Resolution in the danger zone. They are solo right now. And, whew, I thought they were going to take the low path down, and that could have been a little bit scary. Unfortunately, not going to find what they were looking for, and they are just going to go back to farming. We do see Silent now does have the Armlet as well as the Drum of Endurance to go with his Hand of Midas, and that Aegis of the Immortal still yet to expire, though probably will expire reasonably soon here. Only about a minute and a half or so left on it. Never mind, 5 seconds left on it. I should have looked at that in-game clock a bit more closely. So that Aegis, well, not going to be used, but Still, they did get that nice early Roche. Roche going to be coming up in just a couple minutes here. And, well, we'll see if Empire try and take him out again. Looks like Furion, though, is going to be going for an Orchid next. He does have that Oblivion Staff, so a very powerful item on the Nature's Prophet. I absolutely love Orchid on Nature's Prophet in most situations because it synergizes so well in a game like this where he needs some of that right-click auto-attack DPS. A great utility item, but also gives him a little bit of that attack speed and a little bit of that extra damage, and also some more sustain, mana regen, and all that good stuff. An item that I think just synergizes so well with what Nature's Prophet brings to the table. Let's take a look at the gold graph again here. Now we see Empire starting to pull ahead. Finally, the gold graph going in their favor, only by about 500, but still the first time in this match they haven't been in the hole in terms of the economics. They do have the experience lead here. We're going to see Resolution hop forward here. Going to burn the Dream Coil onto the Shadow Fiend. Surprise inside, going to pop out. Shadow Fiend going to be in big trouble, and Snare going to come. Naga going to use the ulti, and that will keep the Shadow Fiend alive just in the nick of time. Again, that Naga Siren worth her weight in gold right now. Dream Coil comes out, Naga Siren ulti right away, and that mitigates anything that the putt can do, and that will keep their carry alive. Very nicely played by Flipside. Wasting a lot of time of Empire, a lot of resources put into that potential gank right there. That was 3 heroes, and, well, they've got nothing to show for it. Shadow Fiend with a huge item pickup here at the 23-minute mark. A Butterfly going to come out, and cheese and crackers. Where did this farm come from? We should have had that net worth chart tab open earlier. I apologize, folks, because, wow, he is out of control. We're going to hold that thought, though, as Venomancer are going to be in big trouble, trying to turn it around onto the Crystal Maiden. Crystal Maiden with the wise choice just to pour it out to make it to the well, recognizing all that damage. He may still fall, actually. Oh, my God. Is he going to go down? 1 health! 1 health again! Oh, it's not going to be enough. He doesn't have any kill damage. Oh, God. I thought there was a Gale on him still. Sorry, that was a little overhyped. That was just damage, yeah, non-lethal poison damage coming out. But, whew, close call there on the Crystal Maiden. Unfortunately, Veno is going to fall. But yeah, look at this Shadow Fiend's farm. Just absolutely out of control. 13k on the net worth chart. He is basically just an item ahead right now. Has the BKB, but now with a Butterfly. A very great pickup. One of the great things about getting an early Butterfly, of course, you have that 35% evasion. Straight up 35% damage mitigation against that Lifestealer, who is basically all right-click auto attacks. And, I mean, I don't want to say that Lifestealer isn't an MKB carrier, but he's not going to have one for too long here. Generally, that Basher is the core item. And even if he wants to get MKB next, he's only at 2.6k. He's still a ways off. And that's going to give a nice window of opportunity here. Again, further synergizing with that kind of mid-game timing that Flipside are going for. Going to work very nicely for him. Roche going to be popping up very, very soon here, as we can tell by our cute little Roshan graph. I'll admit I'm still not that great at deciphering the floating orbs, but I'm going to go ahead and guess it's going to be about a minute or so before Roshan comes up here. We see Empire on point with it. They are going to continue to scat it out and make sure they know when he comes up so they can secure that Roshan kill. But this Shadow Fiend, man, he is a force to be reckoned with. Look at the hero levels as well. He is level 17, the only one over that level 16 mark, but he is just a beast right now, hitting that mid-game stride in true fashion. And with that, Flipside say, hey, let's get a little bit aggressive here. Let's start knocking down some of these tier 2 towers, and let's capitalize on this edge while we have it. And I think that is certainly the right choice. We did see 2 big item pickups in the interim there. While we were watching Venomancer get killed. We do see the Visage now picking up the Og Scepter. He's also level 11, so that is good news. Kind of one of those classic core items on the Visage. Always good news there. And Venomancer going to be working towards his Og Scepter. Does have the Ogre Club as well as the Staff of Wizardry. Those first 2 core items of 4. And a very powerful item on Veno as well. That Poison Nova is not something you want to scoff at. It does an absurd amount of damage, especially when you get that Scepter upgrade. It gets scary. Now, the other item I wanted to mention is Mag on that Nature's Prophet. Does indeed have his Orchid complete, another 1,600 gold in the bank. Going to be very curious to see what item he grabs here. We see Empire sort of making some sort of a notion they're going to pressure that bottom tier 2 tower, but I'm going to be curious to see what Mag grabs. Is he going to go for that kind of right-click style Nature's Prophet? Are we going to see perhaps like a Desolator Crit Stick come out, or are we going to see that more utility Prophet to synergize indeed with that Orchid? Maybe a Sheep Stick going to be coming out next. And Necro Book, always an option with that Nature's Prophet if they really want to push hard. Necro Book, always an option, let's put it that way. Maybe not always the most viable of choices, but an option nonetheless. If you really want to knock down those towers, I'm a big fan of the Desolator. That minus armor just melts towers like butter to a warm knife. Little bit of tower exchanging going on. Flipside going to grab the better of the exchanges. Oh, was that a Naga ulti? That was a bit of a misclick there. Song of the Siren going to get turned on. Empire not going to have anybody nearby, so unfortunately that ulti going to get burned. It's going to be forced on cooldown. He is level 11 now, so could have been worse. 2 minutes though without that Naga ulti. Very, very poor timing as Empire now going to move into the Roshan pit, and Naga Siren, that's sort of their secret weapon here to deal with Roshan. She's not going to have the ulti to initiate, and they're going to be forced to give it away. Actually, I'm not even sure if Flipside know that Rosh is under attack here, but alas, Roshan is going to fall. We did miss a kill while we're looking at Roshan on that Crystal Maiden. Just got caught by the Furion with an Orchid. Makes for a very easy kill. Double damage on the Furion. Oh, that poor Crystal Maiden. Oh, that's going to be a first-class ticket back to the grave, folks. So Empire's starting to pick up even more momentum here, holding steady with that gold lead, the experience lead continuing to move in their favor. Again, that Hand of Midas set that they have really starting to kick in at this point. They've seen some positive ORI to the max, and we'll see how that continues to fare for them. I think Flipside have been playing this a little bit too passive. Once they grab that butterfly, that really should have been that flip the switch, let's get aggressive here. We have a huge lead, or not a huge lead, pardon me, a huge edge in terms of 35% evasion against some of their big damage dealers, and they just didn't, I see right there, capitalize. Uh-oh, they really didn't though. That's really the best way to put it, because now we see this lifestealer really damn close to an MKB. He's got the Demon Edge, and actually, does he have it now as the courier is in transit? There it is. So that's going to be an MKB in the inventory of the lifestealer, and now that, I don't want to say the butterfly is useless, but one of the core pieces of it is just now completely mitigated. You really get that evasion for the lifestealer. I mean, yeah, it helps against the Nature's Prophet, but you know, now that the MKB is out on silent and he's level 16, this is going to be so much more difficult for Flipside in this next 5v5 engage. I think they've just played this way too passive, and they're giving Empire really what they want. What Empire want with their Hand of Midas is space. They want farming room. They want the ability to really see a huge amount of return on that Hand of Midas, and that's exactly what Flipside are giving them. And given that they have no Midas themselves, I think they're just making the mistake of being too passive here in the mid game. Just about to approach that 30-minute mark. It is 10-12. Empire leading the way by 2 kills. A semi-passive game here. We've seen a lot of farming in the mid game. And one of the familiars is going to get picked off there. A little bit of free gold going the way of Shadow Fiend. He is going hard carry route, no doubt, folks. Crystallis now going to be picked up in addendum to that Butterfly and BKB. So he's starting to hit hard. Still has that huge level advantage. Level 19, still 2 levels up on the second highest on the level chart. Who, of course, is that Nature's Prophet here at level 17. Empire, though, starting to do a little bit of split push type strategies. We see Nature's Prophet up in the top lane with a couple of those tree babies there. Going to start chipping away at that top tier 2 tower, but we'll see Shadow Fiend poured up, and that will scare back the old Nature's Prophet there. Also, Lifesteal going to be grabbed by the Shadow Fiend. That's a Helm of the Dominator coming out. A great item on the Shadow Fiend. Now he's going to have that sustain in team fights. A scary presence indeed. In the middle, we're going to see initiation here. Resolution going to hop in on the puck. The Surprise Inside going to pop out, and that's going to be the end of the Timbersaw. He will commit suicide, but he's going to go down nonetheless. Razor going to be in a little bit of trouble here. Does have BKB on, so that is going to mitigate some of the Dream Coil effectiveness. A buyback going to come out from the Timbersaw as well. They're going to try to turn this around. Where's this fight going to go? Empire still with all live. That Force Staff coming in handy there for Mag. They may lose their Visage. One more auto attack may do it. Oh, how lucky is that? Going to grab himself a Haste Rune. Timbersaw going to hop forward with that Timber Chain, and well, going to try with the Chakra, but not going to connect. Oh, what a stroke of luck for the Visage right there. Empire, of course, coming out ahead, and whoa, I haven't noticed this, but a 7-0-2 Visage. Absolutely incredible. Always want to fly, playing out of his mind here. Wow, 7-0-2, absolutely incredible. The kills not quite as impressive as just the 0 deaths, the only one to concede no deaths in this match. Very impressive indeed. And that fight again, forcing that suicide on the Timbersaw, you know, okay, could have been a little bit better, but still burning those Bloodstone charges. That's exactly what they want to do. One thing that has been going the way of Empire, Timbersaw did pick up that Bloodstone very early. You start with those 8 charges, and that's a little bit of snowball potential right there, especially if you get it nice and early. Oh man, you can really pick up a lot of momentum, but he hasn't been able to grab those charges. He's now down to 3, and that Bloodstone just a little bit less effective. That does help mitigate some of the momentum that Timbersaw was picking up, so that is a small victory, albeit a good one for Empire. Looks like Nature's Prophet is going to continue towards that utility build. There it is. He had the ultimate orb. Now going to be able to right-click the Scythe of Ice. That's right. The Hex Stick coming out here for the Nature's Prophet. So he's now got those 2 utility items, and he's starting to hit pretty hard as well. Again, that's one of the things I love about the Orchid. That bit of additional damage and attack speed just synergizes so well with the Nature's Prophet. Now we are going to see Venomancer grab himself his Og Scepter, so that is scary indeed. The Poison Nova is going to be a force of reckon Reckoning? Force of Reckoning? It's going to be scary. That's what I'm getting at. Flipside really need a pipe at this point, I think. If you can get a pipe out, that does mitigate a lot of the Poison Nova damage, and it's easy to use as well because, of course, Poison Nova is a dot, not burst, so you can wait until the Poison Nova gets popped. Or actually, can you? Now that I'm saying that, that's why I need my co-caster for these kind of mechanics. I don't know if it will. I think it still mitigates the poison as it comes in. If you have the debuff on and then pop the pipe, it's still effective. I think. I'm making myself look like a fool here as I stutter about, but I believe that's the case. Regardless, either way, pipe is still a great item against the Venomancer, and I think they'd be well advised to try and pick one up here. I don't know who's going to grab it. No one even working towards it here, but an item that I think Flipside will be well advised to try and grab coming up in the upcoming moments here. Razor now with a Sange. I wonder, is that going to be an S and Y, or is he going to be working towards a Halberd? I imagine it will be a Halberd, an item that works quite well against the Lifestealer. Again, he can auto attack when he's disarmed, and that's his most scary feature. So we'll see. Again, we can't forget in this pending team fight here that Silent does indeed have the Aegis. Going to be reclaimed in 30 seconds. Perfect timing for that little tool tip to pop up right there. We'll see how this fight transpires. Empire either need to engage or be a little bit more careful here, because they could get caught in this window where if Silent gets picked off a few seconds after that Aegis expires, we have seen that happen in a couple of situations, and that very unfortunate, but certainly does happen. And we're going to see Empire play this a bit more safe. They are going to back up. Aegis going to be reclaimed here in 5 seconds, and yeah, they're just going to make it out. So they do grab that tier 2 tower in the mid lane. Was it denied? Nope. Lifestealer can be able to grab that last hit. So the tower count is pretty even right here. It actually is even 4-4. Scratch that. It is going to be 5-4 here. Empire actually going to grab the tower advantage as they do take out that tier 2 tower in the bottom lane. But here we go. Initiation going to come out. Sheepstick going to be used on the Timbersaw to start things off. Puck going to use the Dream Coil. BKB going to get popped by that Shadow Feed. He's going to go toe-to-toe with Silent. Silent going to suicide to finish him off. So double kill going to come out for the Shadow Fiend. Nature's Prophet does buy back. It looks like Empire going to start to grab the better of this fight. Mag gonna port back into the fight. He's gonna be forced to port out as he did maybe a little bit too aggressive there. Venomancer still hasn't burned the ulti quite yet. Shadow Fiend gonna buy back as well. This fight still going back and forth. It's a massacre coming out. Empire losing the momentum. It looks like Flipside may be able to start to take this fight. They're gonna grab 3 kills. They grabbed 4 as the Nature's Prophet did buy back. Empire only able to grab 3 kills themselves. Shadow Fiend did buy back also. Now let's take a look at the buyback tab there. Make sure no one else bought back. Nope, Timbersaw still on cooldown from earlier in that last team fight. So slightly advantageous for Flipside right there, but not too bad for Empire. Again, they did grab that tier 2 tower kill to sort of start off that fight, so it's still good news for them. That gold graph still swaying way in their favor now, just about 6,000 gold or so, and the experience graph comparable to boot, just about 5,000 experience on their advantage. So not the best exchange, but still relatively even. We'll mark it at that. I'd say it's probably about a 50-50. If only they could have gotten that fight when the Aegis was still in tow. That really would have changed the tone of that fight. If the Lifestealer could have popped up after going toe-to-toe with that Shadow Fiend, I think that fight would have been much, much more advantageous there for Empire. We are going to see the Lifestealer now start to transition into the classic Lifestealer build, I guess you could say. He does now have the Skull Basher to go with that MKB, Armlet, and Drum of Endurance. No doubt can be working towards an Abyssal Blade to cut through those pesky BKBs that Flipside have been able to pick up for themselves. A very smart choice indeed. Puck also going to be able to grab a big item here. That's going to be another Scythe of Ice. So crowd control going to be the name of the game for Empire here. They do have now 2 Scythe of Ice. One on the Puck as well as one on the Nature's Prophet. We're going to see an engagement here in the mid lane. Puck with the surprise inside, going to blink forward. Razor going to get caught with his pants around his ankles. Not much he can do right there as he does fall in a 4v1 scenario, but still a nice kill for Empire. Razor, does he have a buyback here? Indeed he does. I was going to say, this is that point where in a 4v5, Empire could really put a lot of pressure on here. They may be able to pressure up in this mid lane, force the buyback from Razor, and then back up. That's probably going to be their golden ticket, but they may just take this ancient stack instead. Looks like a nice triple stack here coming out on the Radiant side of the map, and Empire going to be able to grab it. So, glancing at Skype, LD correcting me here in my bit of Venomancer theory crafting. I was correct about how pipe works. Great. So if you put the pipe on, you can activate pipe after the Poison Nova is on, and it'll still mitigate that damage. Thank you. Thank you, LD, for keeping me on my toes here. And it looks like Hippie is back, folks, so he is going to be joining us for the subsequent games 2 for 5. Only solo casting game 1. Appreciate you guys joining us here on Beyond the Summit. I am Zaiori. We're going to see a fight engage here. Naga Siren going to initiate with the ultimate. Shadow Fiend going to come in. Going to get a nice Requiem of Souls off, but wow, he's taking a lot of damage. Still no one going to fall quite yet. Venomancer going to come in. Poison Nova going to go off. And oh no, Empire now starting to take control of this fight. The Naga, the Crystal Maiden, the Razor, all going to fall. It's going to be a 3-0. Razor going to buy back just about right away here. Empire, at the very least, going to be able to grab themselves this Tier 2 tower kill. The last remaining Tier 2 tower for Flipside RU. They're going to press up, and they're going to continue putting the pressure on. Let's look at the buyback status here. Nothing coming the way of Flipside. The only one they had available has already been burned. It is a 5v3, and they're going to push all steam, what is the saying here? They're going to go forward, all steam ahead. Yeah, that's what I was going for. So this Tier 3 tower starting to take a little bit of damage. Always want to fly, actually tanking that tower a bit more than he would like, perhaps. Oh, Shadow Fiend going to get initiated on. He's going to get dropped like he's hot. Now Razor going to fall. It's starting to look a little bit grim for Flipside here, folks. Empire is still with all 5 alive. They're getting low as they do move into the base, but that's it. Flipside going to tap out. Look at how low. Everyone in the red for Empire here, and they're not going to be able to secure the kills. It looks like they may actually be able to turn it around onto the Timbersaw. Now he's out of mana. Yep, he's going to fall. Shadow Fiend going to be dead for 85 seconds. And here's the fake GG. Oh, so BM from Flipside right there. Not the true GG, but they're going to be in trouble nonetheless. Crystal Maiden going to go ahead and disconnect. They still have 3 dead. Right now, it's just Naga as the lone defender, and the Familiar is going to be able to put the pressure on. There's the Sheep Stick from Puck. Down she goes. So Empire going to be able to take this match with a nice 12,000 gold lead, 12,000 experience lead. That is gonna do it, folks, for game 1. We've got 5 games of Starladder coming up today, guys. That was but game 1. I'm Zaiori. Thank you so much for joining us here on Beyond the Summit. Hippie, my co-caster from Dota Radio, going to be joining me for the subsequent matches here. And, well, plenty more Dota action coming your way. Visage, though, has to be the MVP of that match, ending 10-1-8. An incredible score for one of those supports. Unfortunately, Crystal Maiden not quite so lucky, nor the Venomancer, 0-5-15, but well played by Empire. As we talked about in that mid-game, you know, it seemed like Flipside really had kind of a mid-game advantage, especially when they grabbed that butterfly, but they just didn't capitalize on that mid-game timing they had. They allowed Empire to farm, allow those Hands of Midas to get a beyond positive ROI, and, well, that's what happens. Hand of Midas Gaming, gotta be careful. So stay tuned, guys. We've got plenty more Dota action coming your way.